Welcome to episode 1 of Set the Trend. It's a new blogger. We call it blogger. We call it blogging.
Podcast, isn't
podcast.
it? Yeah,
it's podcast. Where we're going to be talking about the state of the culture. We're going to be giving our opinions on the culture. Reasons why we want to do this is because we want to document and evidence our history trail for about 30 to 40 years ago. So we're going to be bringing in history from back then, and we're going to be making it relevant to now and how we've kind of moved along in the 30 to 40 years, what we've influenced, how we've influenced, what has been recognised, what hasn't been recognised. And I have my two esteemed colleagues with me, Reggie Heavy Styles.
Yes, how you doing? All right.
And Eastender Soul Motion.
Hello.
And we're going to be we've got plenty of topics to discuss today for you. And we're just going to be rolling and discussing. And hopefully what you'll do at the end of the podcast or during the podcast when you're listening is insert your comments. We'd like your feedback on the topics that we've discussed, some of the issues that we've raised. It might be relevant to you as someone who attends the clubs, the blues dances, the raves, the festivals that you see us at, the concerts. Or it might be you as an industry person who's been part of the industry in different ways. So you might not be a DJ, you might be someone who's serviced the industry, as in you've given us records, or you've sold us records, or you've done design art for us. Any way that you've contributed to our form of culture and, you know, how far we've traveled in it, we'd like your opinions about it. So that's why we're doing it. So we're going to get on with some of the topics that we're going to be discussing. And the first topic that we've got up to be discussed is about the festival season that we've just had and how street culture was represented or not represented.
It wasn't represented at all, was it? Really? Come on.
How do you mean not really? I mean,
Well,
what's your
name
feelings
one
on
street
that?
sound that was at a fest. Okay, what was that? Probably sub 50 festivals over the summer that you could say.
And we're talking about the likes of Wireless. We're talking about 51st State,
Glastonbury,
but there was Matt's Barbecue. That's
Okay.
that was. It's a festival's coming out, and it had a few of our street sounds on it. Maybe that's the exception.
That's a first.
Yeah,
definitely, 100%. But if you look at the span over 20 years, come on, man. You know, I find that I never ever find a proper street sound at a festival, and I was trying to think to myself, why is that? Why is there no street sound at a festival? I mean, from your perspective, what would you say?
I know Glastonbury's had some of our street DJs, as in reggae ones. So I know
the
Saxon's been down there, and Robbo Ranks has
Shawnee
been down there.
B.
Shawnee B has been down there.
What would you classify people like Toddler, T, and their Heat Wave?
Maybe I don't know as much as about those sounds and DJs to class them as street DJs or not. Maybe that's.
I say posh street DJs.
Oh, they're posh
Oh,
street.
that's a new terminology.
Posh street
DJs.
Yeah, somebody. I was speaking to somebody, and they were saying there are a lot of DJs out there. Funny enough, we're in the settings of somewhere that has been gentrified, so to speak. But a couple of DJs that have been on this festival circuit that are playing really cool R&B, hip hop, black music in general, and it's more to a more refined crowd, should I say?
But does that say that we can't do that? I mean, this is the issue.
Exactly.
Why are we
Why
not
can't we
getting those opportunities then? Are we not marketable enough?
I think definitely marketable, but I think when it comes to festivals on the mainstream, it is down to who you know, number one. Being that if you are in with a particular festival production company and you have a relationship with them and they know who you are, which some of them do listen to our scene, some of them do listen to the radio stations, but I've never understood why they don't book.
But Reggie, you've been working in the production side of the music business.
Okay, behind the scenes, yeah.
For about 30 years now.
Yep.
So from working behind the counter on Acre Lane.
Mm-hmm. In Supertone.
In Supertone Records, going to work for Hard Zone, which you had a range of acts that was under your roster then. Yeah. And then you went to work for
the Sony Music.
So why don't they know enough about us? Because you've been there. So
people like us,
and you've been championing the street cause. So why don't they know as much about the street DJs?
I think they do. I think there are a lot of people who do go to the street culture raves, but for some reason there's this kind of like separation between. I don't know if you find this being in the industry. There's a separation between what you do as a job and how it looks on a mainstream level, and what you do for your pastime. Because there are a lot of people, I don't know if you found this, but there's a lot of people who do go to these festivals and they don't even rave to the music that they're actually pushing. So they could be pushing a particular act, maybe Rita Ora, or it could be a top R&B act that is doing their thing, but most of them are chilling out in the reggae tent or the house tent and really going crazy to the music, to more underground stuff. Like, these are the people that actually work in the industry. I don't know if it's because they've been around it so much in the sense from a mainstream level, or that their true calling is really that cool underground music sound, you know. So I wouldn't get it too twisted from that perspective. I think it is generally, I think, a business thing and a face thing and how it looks.
So, how do the current set of DJ street sounds try to get into that market?
I think it needs to be more visual. Need to get your stuff together. At the end of the day, you know, there are
more visual than what we. I mean, you're talking about if you look at the culture, we're not that young anymore.
Okay.
I think the word to use, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we're at the mature end.
Yeah.
So how do you get a latest edition, a Desi G, Barry White, a Studio Express, a Special Touch to be more marketable?
I don't think it's about marketable. I think it's a case of, right, okay, there's a mix show happening, you should have a street sound doing a mix. So for instance, there's guest mix on One Extra, a guest mix on Capital Extra. You should be the people lobbying these guys, because the youngsters that are coming through now, that's what they're doing. They're going up to a guy and saying, look, do you know what? Yeah, you got the hottest radio show on One Extra. I noticed you got a 1 hour mix show. How about we do a mix? And they ask. And I think sometimes a lot of the street sounds over the years have had this kind of like pride thing of like, no man, we not go there until them ask me. They should be asking me.
I think you know, back in the day, a lot of the street sounds wanted to go into that direction, but the heads of the One Extras didn't really recognize or didn't want to appreciate the music that we were playing.
Really?
Yeah, you know, definitely the you know, the slower songs, the Aaliyahs.
Okay.
They weren't, you know, it wasn't what they were looking for, but that's what we was creating in the streets and creating a buzz and creating a name. But you know,
which to be fair, it's been the rare groove, the two-step, which went to the slow jams. It's
you know, I remember when you know, One Extra started. You know, before they even, when it was the concept in their head, and I was like, look, there's Fifth Avenue, there was Special Touch, Studio Express, and I kind of pushed them towards One Extra, but they weren't really interested.
So One Extra weren't interested in having them as presenters and DJs
as presenters, even though these guys had the heat on the street.
Yeah.
And you know, I was a bit confused by that.
I mean, you know, when One Extra started, look, fortunately, I was part of it as well. And
so you're to blame.
No. From a sense of, I know, people like Wilbur. Conversations were had with people like Wilberforce and Lorna Clark and Trevor Nelson,
and they didn't know the street.
Various other guys who were, well,
Wilbur didn't know the street.
I think
or decided to ignore the street.
No, I think what happened is a lot of people went out and said, right, okay, we want to find the best of the fresh new talent that is available in regards to modern day culture. And I think also their remit was also saying, right, okay, how can we reach a middle class BBC audience with something that they would understand that isn't too frightening to make them go, oh my god, no, we're not interested in that. It's
these guys ain't frightening.
No, I know that, and I'm totally.
They're the nicest people on the block.
Totally agree with you, but I don't.
You can find a nicer guy than me.
Exactly, but I don't think that you guys push the issue enough from a street sound perspective, because if you look at it, Heartless Crew were on there, and they're probably the rawer end of the garage and R&B. They played the Red Groove stuff. Shawnee B, Semtex, when he came on there, you know, he was playing raw hip hop. So I don't think it was a case of that they were shunning anybody at all. Not, you know, to distract from where we're going in regards to festivals and stuff like that. But I think that 100%. I know for a fact that our remit because I was fortunate enough to be involved in the marketing of One Extra, and I set up their street team when they launched, and for a number of years I did some of their street marketing, and we did come to dances, street dances. We were at various street dances with t-shirts
and you wasn't impressed?
Posters and flyers.
You wasn't impressed.
You wasn't impressed.
One DJ.
Oh no, of course we were. No,
which one?
We were there promoting the actual station at these various events.
So
we were there.
You was tapping into the street to get to your audience.
Well, everybody taps into the street to get to an audience.
Okay, but why wasn't there one DJ that maybe came back and they said, this DJ from the should be given an opportunity.
I think from an editorial position, I think if you look at the makeup behind the BBC and the people that are there at the time, I think that a lot of them came through from what you would call a university background, student radio background. They didn't understand that. A lot of the producers who were producing like David Rodigan's show, they came from kind of like some random place in Cornwall, but they loved the music,
or
they loved the vibe. Yeah,
or Yorkshire,
but the funny thing is, quite a few of them would go to these events and the bashments and the dancehall events and stuff like that, and you would see them in there.
Okay, but bringing it forward, does the streets? I suppose I pose a question. Then, do we need to be part of that scene? Do we need to be part of the upper end of the festival?
Of course, because I feel that in the festivals, I think that it's a disservice from my perspective that the house scene is similar in a similar way, where you've got a lot of house DJs playing house music because they have access to the production, they have access to a lot of things that we probably don't have, albeit contacts. So you have a manager who's pretty good manager who's looking after maybe Carl Cox, and they would also then bring in somebody else who they felt, okay, yeah, this guy's really cool, we really want to work with this particular person. And I think it's just down to the fact that Street Sounds never ever reached out to the mainstream people on a mainstream level, and I think that's one of the key things.
I would argue against. I would argue that.
Okay, go on.
Because I think that there was enough of us lobbying at the time.
Who were you lobbying though?
We was lobbying the heads of labels. We was remember they came and embraced us. I don't think at any point we went looking for it, because
you're talking about record labels.
I'm talking about the record labels.
But we always brought in street sound DJs to come and play at launch parties,
right,
for events. We always did that. Okay. So I don't understand.
So how did that then not transcend to us, at least one DJ getting a gig on One Extra then?
I think that's a conversation that should have been had with maybe a Ray Paul, who understands the street sound culture, and maybe.
To Ray Paul's defence, he's going to say that he brought Rampage.
Well, there you go. That's one.
So he's going to say Rampage.
Heartless Crew, you say that's two. I think maybe.
But then there's different cultures within our street culture, isn't it? So you've got our culture, which we're probably going to address more of, being the Studio Express, being the Special Touch, the Desi G, the Barry White,
the real street culture,
mixed street. Yep. You know what I mean? GQ, Cass Manhattan, Company Soul Sound. To name some of the DJs, there's a lot more that that obviously that we're going to mention over time. But there's none of them that they've got a rich history in music, rich history in bringing through music, bringing through music that was taken on, adopted, and changed and made into a mainstream hit.
Okay.
And never ever have I seen one of those guys.
Wouldn't you say that maybe to a certain degree some of those street sounds might have excluded some of the guys who were new coming through, in the sense that they didn't take them under their wing and say, right, okay, do you know what, this is what we do, come and DJ and come and play with us? Because a lot of the youngsters now who are on the radio stations and the people who were doing it at the time, they took their influence from the likes of you guys anyway in the first place, but they probably felt there was a barrier to entry with you guys. Just like, for instance, you remember the whole UK funky and funky house scene. There was a split, and basically the funky house scene was doing its thing, the DJs were doing their thing, and a lot of the youngsters tried to come on board. They come to the events, tried to get on the microphones, tried to get on the radio shows, and they were excluded because the guys who were looking after the funky house scene and probably in it, they were thinking, well, do you know what? This doesn't represent what we do, blah, 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 blah. So they went off and created UK Funky.
Create their own scene.
Yeah, exactly. And said, stuck two fingers up and said, this is our thing. And then that's when you had the emergence of people like Kyla and
so is that what we got to do in
and all that type of stuff.
It's still not late. It's still not too late to create our own.
Well,
our own festival state, Garage Nation.
Of course not. No, and it's a disservice. Or maybe you could even think that festival. What do people come to a festival for? Do people come to a festival to two-step, or do they come there to get a really high octane vibe?
Energy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying you guys can't do that.
There's a tent for that, isn't there?
Is that
there's a two-step tent over there.
Two-step tent
yeah, exactly. But they should have provided that, and I think the demand is there because I tell you why. Because if you look at somebody like Smooth FM, Jazz FM, when they do their outside live broadcast, they do have that facility available. They do have tents with guys playing these random rare groove records, soul records.
But it's just not.
It's just not from the
It's
street
just not the street
culture.
guys playing.
Exactly.
Okay.
What's been your favourite festival for the year?
Can we bring
Newport.
that, and can we bring that local? So if we look at our scene, because otherwise we'll take
Newport Festival was
What
wicked.
was in Newport? I know that one.
Newport didn't have nothing to do with streets, though, would it?
Yes,
it might have.
There were a lot of, not exactly the street sounds, but they did have. It was quite interesting actually because I was booked to play a tent called Irish Shack, and it's a guy who owns kind of like a couple of Jamaican restaurants down in Wales and a few other places, and he's quite popular. He's been around for years. He owns loads of clubs. Big up Iffy, yeah. But he had street DJs playing street music. I'm not talking about.
Is that street DJs from Liverpool?
No, from Newport.
From
surrounding
Newport,
areas. Unfortunately, I was the only person that
from London
was from London because everybody else is booked to DJ. And
you was booked? What day was that?
I didn't get the memo on that one.
Okay,
yeah.
But okay, we'll go with that. And yours?
Festivals this year.
Festivals, I think. Should I say festivals, or if we're reviewing our summer activity as in streets, just anything that also included the streets as we know it.
I think my favourite for the year. It's funny actually. It was your event, All White Cocoa.
Okay.
I missed that. I can't.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favourites, and I think it was a bit groundbreaking as well. It wasn't.
You smashed it
in the area. We was on the outskirts. To see like 900 people. Was that about 9,000? About 1,000 people.
Half of London, apparently.
There was a lot of people.
Sorry. You mean Wakandians?
I just think it was a nice vibe, nice venue. You went over and beyond, and I think that's the levels that we need to be going to.
100%.
And as Reggie was saying earlier on that when we do events like that, people take note, and I think that that was definitely my highlight of the year.
So why isn't there more of the equivalent of the All White Cocoa Party? Why isn't there more of that type of stuff? It's not difficult to put together. I'm sure Ray can testify to you.
But I think
is it? What was the barrier to entry?
Well, if we rewind that a little bit, I think because we've got brought up on a culture of warehouses, blues dances, clubs, yes, but I think the mentality is just to look at, there's a lot of effort that goes into the blues dances, which is where we started from, and it's where we created a lot of our vibe from.
Okay.
So it's keeping that going, which I get, and I see that, you know what I mean? Even though I might not be as part of it as much as I once was, I get the energy behind that, and to keep that momentum going, because, you're playing music that maybe isn't still played on mainstream or easily accessible on your Spotify's or your Apple Music or so.
Okay, so them one-off ones where you...
Yeah,
okay.
So I get that, you know what I mean?
But is it the ravers' fault though? Is it that the raving culture isn't in tune to the festival outdoor market? Because that's another thing. If you look at the demographic of a festival, it's very rare that you find 70% of black people being in a festival other than Notting Hill, really. What? Am I saying something wrong here? Or am I seeing something that Because when I go to Latitude Festival, when I go to Wireless, when I go to Glastonbury, albeit any of these festivals. What about Trent Park? Okay, 51st State, which is what you could say is close to.
That's the nearest
sound.
we got to
street sound. Even there, it's not a lot of black people. Are black people really into that festival culture? Is that something that we like to do, or something we're in tune
I see people going there from our culture, so I know that it's not something that they wouldn't go to or wouldn't access or wouldn't think about. So they actually do buy tickets and they do go there.
They just don't listen to our music there.
I mean, I'm not sure. I just think, with any with any industry, you've got people within it that want to break boundaries. You've got people who want to push it further, and maybe a lot of the promoters that we have, and a lot of the energy is going on to keeping what founded us, the ground bit of it going. You know what I mean, and not so much the other end of it going. Be it because I don't know. Do they think people will spend money at the other end? I mean, it's a conversation.
You talk about money. I think that's another factor. I think the price. I think the cost of going to a festival as well. Because obviously, there's a stat that's come out there saying that people are now moving more towards festivals as they're out, their way of going out and stuff like that through the years. But I think that's another thing. Maybe it's the cost. How much was the all white cocoa?
The all white cocoa was £35 for
okay, that's reasonable.
And £40 with coach travel. So you got in with coach travel.
That's a fair price.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I would like to think so. I got the sense that we was creating a little bit of history of it. I did get that sense of it when we was putting it together because of the location, because of what we was trying to do with it.
So you're trying to tell me nobody's done something similar over the years from the street sound perspective,
as in
similar to the all white cocoa?
Well, it was a day thing for us.
Other than the mansion, actually, it used to be that mansion party in Bristol, wasn't it?
In Bristol, yes. It's been a couple of days.
I suppose not doing it as a day event.
Yeah.
And maybe not doing it.
Well, congrats, mate. Congrats.
Well, yeah, congrats to the team. It wasn't just me. There was a team behind me, with me, should I say? I won't say behind them. We're on the streets. Because, hey, but I'll say there was a team. There was a
you
team.
See these little things.
There was a team.
These little things
that hold you back.
This is what happened.
That holds them back. Yeah.
Silly innuendos.
There was a team. There was a team with me. So big up Dodd, Ali, and big up East End as
stick
well.
to your guns,
That was G-Shock, new attraction. Yeah, behave yourselves.
I heard that the youngsters had up the elders.
Yeah. But it's just a vibe, innit? It's just me saying that there was a team that put that together. We wanted to push boundaries. We want to be different. We want to be more edgy. We want to be more classy. We want to offer them what they want, but in a situation where they have to accept sometimes there's a limitation to what we can give back because the venue isn't ours. You know what I mean? So there's certain regulations, there's certain things that we have to stick to, you know what I mean, in order to give you back that. But you have to see with us. You can't always get what you want on a street level, as in on a blues dance level.
That. I understand.
At that kind of level. So I think that's what we wanted to do. I didn't get the sense of it at the time though. It was that great, to be honest with you, because when you're within your zone and you're trying to manage the project, and there's a lot of other things going on throughout the night as well that are taking your attention away from enjoying what is happening.
Yeah.
I didn't get the sense of it then. It was only afterwards. It was just the feedback that we got afterwards and the love from people and the comments and everything from
the pics look great.
You know what I mean?
The videos look amazing.
Which meant that, which was something for us. That
so what's stopping you from putting something like that in a setting at Glastonbury or Latitude or Festival?
I don't think there's nothing stopping us from doing it. So it's probably something that we're thinking about going towards. So
would you consider, because the Weekenders, Southport Weekender, Hailing Island, and a few others, would you consider that as a festival?
Yeah, it's a celebration, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it does happen. I mean, if you look at MJR, they put 2,500 people over the weekend, 2,500 plus people over the weekend into a festival setting. Yeah. And that's been going on for 20 odd years.
Number of years.
Celebrating 21 this year.
And I think it is But again, it maybe doesn't attract the attention of your 51st State. So that, maybe it's
Yeah, but
the
they
way it's
don't market it in this. Yeah, they
maybe
don't
it's the way
market it
it's
in that way.
marketed.
I mean, if you put an advert in Metro newspaper, then that's, you know, that's what I'm talking about. There isn't that mainstream.
So do you think that 51st State, we can put a tent in 51st State?
I think you can propose that.
Or do you think we should?
Well, they got a We Love Soul tent. They got a My Soul radio tent, didn't they? At 51st. Well, no, wasn't it? Was it My Soul? No, it was We Love Soul. Sorry, My Soul was at Southport Weekend. No, that's it. So
we're getting there.
It is possible. It is possible to do a street sound.
Would you consider putting All White Cocoa as an alternative event inside 51st State?
Of course I can.
Yeah,
of course I consider it.
I think it will be very popular as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think their tent will be extremely popular, and I really do think so. And I think
Okay, so that's a conversation to be had.
I'll take 10%. Since we got it on here.
You and your fees.
I'm the money man here.
Sounds like he sounds like David Chisora.
Just for the trademarking, you know. No, really joking. No.
Okay, so in terms of bringing that to a closure and bringing that issue to a closure, then is there any other? Because to be fair, the streets does have a lot of things going on over the summer. So we have the boat events. So there's a few fair boat events that happen throughout the year. I was on a few of them. One was of yours. The Rear Groove boat thing, which is, you know, Rear Groove again is part of our culture. That was well received.
Yeah. Very good.
Have they sorted out that boating thing? So everybody's allowed to have boat parties now still, again?
It never went away.
It did go away. We always went to other boats. I mean, even though we wasn't allowed on that particular boat.
Okay, so just one boat. Oh yeah, Jerry had his boat party, innit?
Jerry had his boat party.
Well attended.
Mine, BCP had their boat party. Roger Moore had his boat party.
Bougie Bourgeois. They had one last night.
Yeah.
They had one last night.
Yeah.
So they're very popular then. So there's the demand for the whole street sound culture.
Before I get slapped across the face for not mentioning it, TLC has his boat parties with Marky Mark, which they've been doing for a number of years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're out there and we're doing them.
You know, somebody posted actually the other day, when you're on the subject of boat parties, there was a guy called Stretch Taylor. You know him?
Yeah, I know him.
And he posted about, he said, why is everybody doing a boat party? There are too many boat parties. Do you reckon, is that a thing? Because I thought to myself, how can you have a monopoly on boat parties? Who's to say how many boat parties people can have?
Well, there's never too many of a boat party. No, definitely not.
Do you reckon something? I don't think there's any saturation.
That's like saying there's too many clubs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I've thought about it. In my sense,
I really think sometimes the DJs and people get a bit selfish. Yes, I understand you are frightened of competition, but you should try to excel in competition as well, because you can't stop anybody from doing a business. Copying your business idea, you know, in terms of my sound is a representation of a lot of other sounds. So if that was the thing, I wouldn't take anything from anybody to do my own business. You know what I mean? I don't know. Stretch Taylor can say there's so much, there's too many boat dances, but some of them represent different music within different genres of music within the culture. So I know for him they're very old school stuff that they play, but old school away from our Rear Groove. So for instance, we might have 3-4 Rear Groove boat dances, but it's Rear Groove typical to what we played in the house parties.
And then TLC's boat party isn't Rear Groove, it's more street sound.
And Bougie now is
disco.
Disco, which is maybe going to where Stretch is actually his market is. But I don't think that there's too much. I mean, there's choice for everybody, and
Jig's got one, innit?
Jig's got all sold out, and it's always all sold out.
I got kicked off that, Bill. I used to be on Sold Up, you know.
Why'd you get kicked off?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Jigs, what's going on there, mate?
What, Jigs have stopped booking you?
I don't know what happened. We were doing it for quite a while, actually.
You've upset the great one.
I know. No, we're all good, man. Me and Jigs.
Jigs, I've got your back.
I think his words were, we're going to put different DJs on the Sold Up.
And you remember that there's loads of bashment dancehall
boat
parties.
Yeah.
You know, way before, you know, the sold out, and so.
So what do you think? You're talking about bashment and going back to festivals, right? So dancehall music is massive. It's huge. So you've got a couple of dancehall DJs like Rodigan, who's been doing his tour with orchestra,
40th anniversary.
Yeah, and you got like Heatwave Sound, and you got the Toddler Tees who does his Toddler Tea Carnival. I don't know if you've been to one before.
No, I ain't been to that one.
I
stick with Saxon and Lord Gellies when I go.
Yeah, but it's
Carnival.
I find it interesting
the original corners.
that there isn't that much of a difference between that whole thing in regards to the music that they play. You know, they really go in. I mean, Heatwave really go in from Ninja Man dubs to the latest Taurus Riley dubs and stuff like that. So, but it just seems to me that there's some kind of division. I don't know what it is. Like, why don't they bring in somebody like you guys to come and do that type of stuff? You know, why aren't they bringing in the street DJs?
Maybe it goes back to the one extra thing. They're just a bit frightened, and I don't know what they're to be frightened of. Maybe it's the people representing it that they're frightened of. But we're quite nice people.
Or they want it all for themselves.
Yeah. Maybe they want it all for themselves. That is an interesting conversation, which leads me to the next topic.
Yeah, go on.
Quite neatly. This week there's been a few voicemails going around the circuit again. There's a female lady. I won't say her name, just because I'm just trying to be careful.
Is she a DJ?
She's not a DJ that I know. Definitely the one I know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's played
just
on
a
radio,
music collector.
Sure. Yeah. She's sent a voice note around. So she's a female blogger. Yeah. We've already got one blogger now. A male blogger.
He's a bit quiet of late, isn't he?
Yeah, what happened to that blogger?
I heard he got married off, and that usually
not me, you know.
Yeah. He got married off, so that usually does that to you. Like, you know when you get married,
okay.
Under the thumb. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So maybe that's what's happened. But
so
she's come out.
Then.
Yeah, so she's come out this week, and she said, basically, let me try and break this down. The DJs who are on our circuit, and I'll make that point to it. It's our circuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Play too much of the same music in the dances. We're not being fresh enough. We're not being innovative enough. The way we present the music maybe is not in the best manner, as in you're presenting the same tunes one after another. You're not doing anything with the tune. You're not creating a different vibe, you know, because there's different ways. You know, I can play two music and you can play two music, and you make the two music sound completely different.
Yeah,
you know
of course.
I mean? Yeah, the way that you present it. And she went to name a list of tunes as it goes, and let me see if I can find the list.
Next Wifey, Candy.
No, she didn't.
Too Close.
She didn't actually mention like none of those.
Oh,
tunes.
none of the R&B stuff. Or are you talking about like the?
It was R&B. Okay, so I'll give you some of the list. So
are you looking at your playlist or are you looking at the list?
I'm looking at. Are you cheeky or something?
I'm just checking.
He's not nice.
Send it for you.
So here, I'm gonna go. There's 100 tunes here, so I'm not going to name 100 tunes. I'm gonna go through some of the tunes that she said DJ should stop playing. So you've got Donald Jones in this list. So Infidelity, Where I Want to Be. Maxwell, Ascension is in that list. So I think someone write Nigel B.
But those are big tunes.
Did someone write Nigel B by the side of that? No, sorry, I'm joking. So you've got Omar, Tell Me. You've got Hill Street Soul is on this list. You've got Mary J. Blige. You've got Jill Scott. Can't Wait. Whenever you're around.
All those are big records.
You've got Beer on this list. I can't really understand because I didn't know.
Do or Die.
I didn't Do or Die and Beer Necessities. I didn't know Beer was being played that much like that to death.
Yeah, I didn't know.
You've got Marcus Houston, Music Soul Child. You've got BJ, the Chicago Kid. Profile, Just Can't Get You Off My Mind.
Did they play BJ the Chicago Kid in street dances?
Yeah, they do.
Very often, as in like overplayed.
Well, apparently so. You've got Fantasia is in there. When I See You, you've got Charlie Wilson.
Okay.
You've got The Futures. Ain't No Time for Nothing. One of our Ray Groove anthems. You've got Mint Condition, Pretty Brown Eyes. I didn't think that was played so often in those dances. You've got Jodeci. You've got H-Town. You've got Tevin Campbell. We've got Brian McKnight. We've got Sinclair. I Want You Back. Didn't know that was played so much. You've got R. Kelly. You've got Ashanti. You've got SWV. You've got the Daz Band. I might agree with the Daz Band.
Daz Band is definitely.
You've got Eric Benet. You've got Luther Vandross. You've got Kelly Price. You've got Aria Lennox. You've got Next. You have got Next in there. Next Wifey. Next Butter Love is in there.
I knew that would be in there.
You've got Jaheim. You've got Joe. You've got Leah. You've got Leah Renee Dior, Good Morning. You've got Smooth Undercover Lover. David Hollister's in there. Michael Cooper's in there. Blackstreet's in there.
What, Shoop Shoop by Michael Cooper?
No, Over and Over. One of
Oh,
our
okay.
one of our great old blues dance tunes.
Yeah.
You've also got Ida Divine in there, and more controversial to me. Not to say that those ain't, and we're going to discuss it, but they've got some of the new age artists in there. So they've got Mira May, Commit is in there. They've got Ella May, Booed Up is in there. They've got Solange in there. They've also got Kiana O'Quinn, potential one of the new blues dance tunes that are really taking life. So she's actually saying that these 100 tunes, DJs, get over yourself and come with some other tunes and stop playing these regular tunes, hitting the dances. I'm gonna go to EastEnder first.
Yeah, because he's a promoter.
Because you're not only are you a promoter who's
selector,
ex DJ. Some would say he wasn't very good at it. But
I remember the best his I swear, you guys used to bully him. We guys used to bully him. Seriously, hold on. Because I remember when EastEnder used to come on, he was scared. It was like tumbleweed. Everybody just moved away from the sound.
I have a problem when people say bully because in this day and age you can't just say bully because it means a lot of things to a lot of people. So I'm gonna rewind.
Was it banter? Just banter.
Yeah, banter.
All right. Okay.
You've been a DJ for over 30 years. Started off as a DJ in your own right, and then you went to one of the biggest sounds on the street at the time, which was Latest Edition, part of a band of 5 or 6. Your nickname in that was Superboy. I don't know where you got that from. Legs? Maybe you could tell us where that come from. I don't know.
You got that part. Super Kid.
Oh, Super Kid.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You then went on to work for Maestro Records. No,
Maestro. BAM Records.
BAM Records, which was one of the biggest urban music
alongside Red Records,
alongside Red Records, alongside some dub vendors, alongside the ones in
Supertone,
London.
Regal.
And you then went to found yourself your own record shop, which was Maestro Records.
Maestro,
and these are tunes that you've sold. I mean, I couldn't name how many of these tunes that you've sold over the years to people who's come into your shop.
And to DJs.
And
they're still playing them now, according to... What's her name?
What's the problem? Do you agree with her, first and foremost, that these 100 tunes, these are 108 tunes, should I say, these 108 tunes, they should be put to the side, and we should come with another 108 tunes to supplement that maybe entertains people?
Well, she's got a point. She's got a point.
Because just to say that you've been very calm now, you wasn't calm earlier on.
No, she's got a point.
Not that I want to make you get...
She's got a point. You know. Like, 1996.
Okay.
Maxwell.
Yeah.
Ascensions. Yeah. It's been played from when it came out, 1996.
Yeah.
We're now in 2018, and it's still being played. Now, it's a fantastic record.
Yeah.
And it's a floor filler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nigel B loves it. and many other DJs love it too. Yeah. And it works. It works. Now,
I haven't played it for a while, but yeah.
No,
you're just saying that because we're on a podcast. Yeah,
but it's true.
Yeah, I'm coming to your next session, and I'm going to hide in the back.
I think she's got a point that the records are being played regular, and there's other records you can play, but I don't think she's in a position to tell the DJs to stop playing it.
What, to stop playing music?
No, these 100 songs.
But isn't there a point though that basically every DJ? So firstly, obviously, you're seeing you've got a whole bunch of DJs on the lineup, yeah, on the street sound scene. So every DJ will play one of those records on that list in their set over the entire night.
She's going out every week. She's a constant party goer, raver, and every time she goes out, she's hearing the same record, so she's frustrated, and that's a paying punter. She's frustrated that she's hearing the same records. Now we can turn around and say, well, if you don't like it, why don't you go
51st Date?
51st Date. Why don't you go somewhere else? It's an easy solution. It's an easy solution. I mean, I would change my direction of where I'm hearing my music if I'm getting bored of it.
Nah, I don't think even that's the case.
Yeah,
I think with that scene and that street sound scene, I think it is very, very difficult. I tell you why, because I think over the years, what's happened is that, remember back in the day, your R&B DJ will come and play R&B, your soul DJ will come play soul for an hour, and so forth for your hip-hop DJ or whatever. And I think what's happened now is that everybody's ability to find music has now opened up to the point where everybody's tastes when they go out is so varied, because I've played on a couple of what you call like Jerry Bascom gigs, which he likes the top 40 records. He says, Reg, you know what? I just want the hits. I just want to hear.
And those top 40 records, they're not national radio top 40
no,
records.
No. We're talking about those records on the list.
In those
exactly.
lists. That's
and
what
he
wants
likes to hear that. And I think it's a promoter thing, and also it's a raver thing, where you've got ravers that come out and they'll say to you, how come you haven't played Candy? How come you haven't played Next Wifey? Because the vibe...
But I think
when they hear a record that they don't...
She's talking particularly about house dances, blues dances.
Well,
she's talking about house dances.
Listen,
okay.
I mean, she didn't...
Not the street sound.
Listen, she mentioned a whole load of DJs.
As far as I was aware, she was
mentioning
mentioning DJs.
Right, and she mentioned a DJ. She mentioned
quite a few DJs.
Yeah, and
actually, luckily my name were in there.
And when she mentions Fifth Avenue, obviously my ears prick up. I'm like, how dare you? Because obviously I'm very precious about Fifth Avenue.
Of course.
Not to say that I'm avert from getting criticism. Fine, I take that on board, and I do what I can with it to make me better, or to, because sometimes it's just a load of gaff. It's not everything that you say to us actually is the truth. Yeah. But no, it goes both ways, doesn't it? But I'm looking at the music and I'm thinking to myself, well, how can you? Some of that is legacy tunes.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, a whole load of that is legacy tunes. It's tunes that we should be proud of, that we broke. Because you know, if you look at some of those artists on there, yes, they may have seen the light of day. Without us, but they probably.
No, I don't think so.
No, I mean, look, let's go.
I don't think so.
You know, we can use Usher for example. You know, he doesn't really need the streets.
Yes, he did.
No, he did. I'm saying right now. 30 years later.
Okay, now, in this age, he doesn't. Yeah.
But the records that we're talking about, you know, Seduction, that's what it's made for. They're from the album Confessions.
Yep.
One of his biggest selling albums and his best albums. But you don't hear that record anywhere else unless you go to the house dances.
Exactly.
So in the clubs, I used to play that. I used to play that in Luminar clubs.
What, in Ministry of Sound? I've never heard that.
Luminar clubs. Like when me and Reds, you know, we always did. Well, I've done the whole. We did the whole Lunar tour thing.
In the majority,
we took the street sound thing on the road.
Okay,
and so we would have what you know, the equivalent of an erection selection.
But that is an exception to the rule.
Right.
Okay.
And
exception to the rule.
Yeah. So you only hear that in house parties. So if you do like that song. No, where else would you hear it? You have to go to the house party to hear it. And when once you get to that house party, and the DJs play it, the response that the DJs get from the crowd makes you want to play it the following week as well, because
of course
it's a job of a DJ to entertain.
Because isn't this where, from our standpoint, a professional standpoint, that you get to understand quickly that the crowd wants hits.
Yeah.
They don't like to admit it sometimes.
But they want hits.
Yeah. And hits is hits from whenever hits was. They like hits. So when you're putting together hits, they love hits.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're not just creating hits, you're creating anthems.
Listen,
your anthems there.
Half of those, in fact, 100% of those tunes weren't hits before we made them.
Exactly.
Hits.
Oh no, they're your hits. Yeah.
It's
They're
true.
street sound hits.
They're street sounds hits.
Yeah.
And they're
totally
hits
agree.
that I feel very proud of making, because Jaheim, for one.
Yep.
Jaheim was a street. That come from the streets.
Yep.
He came from the streets in London. I don't know what love he was really getting in America to that much. But he did
a little bit, but it wasn't a lot.
He wasn't getting that as to over here.
Yeah.
The streets made that.
100%.
Why should we chuck away that legacy? Because I think I discussed it with East End. I played at a wedding on Friday. Part of a wedding is that they want hits. Yeah, you can't play new tunes in a wedding. You know what I mean? Well, you can, but you can't play lengthy
underground.
New tunes. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that.
Exactly.
Different set of people.
Yep.
But it was fascinating for me to be playing some of the old tunes and seeing young people who are around 17, 18, 19 singing to those old tunes. Same tunes here.
Exactly.
So if I was to leave out these tunes, how does it then get passed on to the next legacy? How does what we do continue?
Well, that was part of my thing when I said I partly agree with it, what she says, but the other part where I don't is exactly what you said. Now, if you listen to Heart, Smooth on the radio, you hear them play, you know, Randy Crawford.
Same 20 records.
You might need somebody. Yeah. You might need, but you know, we're just doing, that's our version of Heart.
Yeah.
Because we haven't got any national radio stations that's playing Seduction.
Yeah.
One Extra don't play it, Capital Extra don't play it.
Yeah.
And the only place you can hear those records are there, and that's that's the street.
Yeah.
That's where the street is created.
Well, you've got pirate radio stations who play it constantly,
Yes.
so we've got to give them the credit in the sense that they have kept a lot of these records alive.
And yes, there is lots of alternative records out there, and yes, they can be played, but they've got to be broken into.
Yeah.
So this is my point. Come back to: is this not the flour? Because you know, a cake is a cake. Every time you go and bake a cake, you have to use flour.
Flour, exactly.
Yeah. You might be bored of it.
Yeah.
But you have to use flour, unless there might be some chefs and cooks out there saying, well, actually, you don't need that no more. But as far as I know, you need flour.
I think what it is,
and isn't this not just our flour that you bed in your set with for the night?
Yep.
So you dig in and out of these musics to present your set.
But there's also music from a DJ perspective that Ascension by Maxwell, great record. But a lot of DJs are now doing
off the Ascension because a certain DJ will think that we're just picking.
We're not. We're not.
He's one of our finest and best. DJs.
What I'm trying to say is that there are DJs who do their own edits and remixes and stuff like that.
So you're picking on them.
And you can play that though. But my thing is though, when you do that in especially the street dances, you always get 2 or 3 people will come up. Play the original, man. What's this? Play the original record because they want to hear the original tune. When you're trying to do something totally different and entertain the vibe, like I play White Lion, right? And what I try to do is play
White Lion in Streatham, that's a pub.
In Streatham, yeah. So I try to play some of these records, but I'll take the acapellas and cut them in and scratch them in over various instrumentals.
So you present it differently.
Yeah, exactly totally differently.
Earlier,
and you get 1 or 2 people that will come and say, yeah, this is good. But I'll also get some negative feedback from people that will say, oh, why didn't you just play the original record? Do you know what I mean?
You can please some people.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. Because that's what I'm going back to saying. There's such a melting pot now of people who are coming out to a gig. You've got people who have never been to a street sound gig before in their whole entire life. Their workmates said, yeah, come along, come out for a good night out, and 6, 7 of them have come out.
So how do we protect our legacy going forward? Because to me, this is about our legacy. It may be not as interesting, as special, as important when we start out, but by the time that you're coming to the end of your history, you've made history. You're talking about some of the sounds in there that have been part of creating history, creating something different. We want to protect this because if it falls off, then you're finished. I mean, that's it. Yeah. Whatever story that you got to tell is for archaeologists to dig up in a million years' time.
Anyone last year, I remember sitting down and I went on, I think it was either SoundCloud or Mixcloud, and I found some old tape of, I think it was you guys, Touch of Class.
I don't know. Listen.
And somebody else.
Listen.
DJ.
No, stop right there.
Fifth Avenue.
No, stop right there. Yeah. You see, when you say hold, we don't did a hold.
No, it was. I think it was about 1994.
Reg.
Oh, sorry, a throwback.
You found a mature tape.
All right.
We don't do the hold because there was too many holes in there.
Okay. There was a vintage, vintage recording which I think of a dance where I think it's Touch of Class. I think I was even in the dance at the time. If I remember
one of
rightly.
our most iconic street sounds.
And it was an hour and a half of slow jams, right? But at the time, you guys were breaking new records in the set, so you would play like a couple of Red Groove records, and then you would play the brand new tunes as well.
Just to cut you there,
go on.
Aren't we talking about a DJ called Mystery? Because a DJ called Mystery, this is exactly what he used to do, but back in the day, he wasn't prolific in finding new tunes.
Yeah,
but a lot of the tunes that were new, that other DJs broke, he broke to a wider audience.
Yeah, to wider people.
Audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So isn't that what we're saying? That there's something for everybody, but you can't kill the legacy. You can't.
Good records.
I mean, the comment that she made sounded like she wanted to kill the legacy.
I think what it is, she wanted to kill the legacy, but also I think what it is the way it's presented. Everybody knows, you're guaranteed to hear Tweet Boogie Tonight mixed into Lucy Pearl. Or you're guaranteed to hear Wifey Next mixed into, what do you call it, Too Close.
Yeah. Is there a new records you can play instead of Lucy Pearl?
Of course there are. There's tons of records that you can. I do it
So
myself.
her argument would be,
Yeah.
why,
got a valid.
why can't you? Why can't you?
Yeah,
do
exactly. I think the DJs are scared. I think the DJs
Some
are
of the
scared.
DJs are scared.
Some of the DJs are scared to do that.
So then, shouldn't she then widen her audience of going to listen to DJs?
Yeah, but she mentioned a whole load of sound systems.
I reckon.
So I presume that she's actually raved to every single sound
She
system
can't
that
rate
she
all of them
mentioned.
week in, week out. It's impossible.
But why not?
But she mentioned about 20 DJs on there.
Yeah, but why not?
Well, I'm sure she's
Over a
not just
period
talking.
of a year.
I'm sure she's a
Yeah.
well-seasoned raver.
Yeah, I'm
been
sure,
raving for
exactly.
about 5 or 10 years.
Maybe that's for her to put it or answer that.
Because there are people who do go to lots of different dances where sound
And I
systems
must
are
admit,
playing.
I did see the young lady last night.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you know her.
Oh, okay. Oh, now it
I
gets
don't
interesting.
actually know the young lady like that.
Now it gets interesting.
Now it gets.
Yeah.
I played my set last night.
And was any of those records in there?
Shush. Finish. I played.
You played Wifey.
I didn't play Wifey last night.
You play Bear, Do or Die.
I didn't play Bear neither.
Did you play Commit?
I didn't play Commit neither.
Okay.
But what I would say to you is this. Just so you guys got.
All right,
No, hold on. Let me finish. I saw the young lady last night, and I was walking out of the venue at the time. I'd played my set, and I was.
She was walking out, or you was walking?
I was walking out. I was walking out. I was knackered, and I was going on for an early night. I needed to sleep, and she stopped me and said, "Very good set. I like the way you put your music together. That's what you should do." And she then commented and said something that I won't say because it wasn't about me. It was about another DJ. I don't really want to bring that mix into it in a minute. She can feel free to do it on her podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it, but she complimented me on my music selection. Some of the music I did play was top 100 tunes, but maybe it's the way that I presented it.
Exactly.
That
That's
made
what it
her
is.
feel that it was something different that she was listening to.
But that's the key. I think that's the key. I think you can play hits, mash up a dance, but it's how you present it. If you're not presenting it in the way that every other DJ follows, because you know there are certain mixes that were done, like Soul to Soul, when they used to do a mix, and you used to hear Jazzy or what's his name? Was it Ron? He would do a mix, and everybody would copy that mix in their gigs. You know, it just happens.
Well, I think one of the things are the DJs. It's not the list that's the problem. It's the DJs. They're.
Whoa! So when you see the DJs are the problem, our DJs are the problem. In fact, of what they're not challenging enough. They're not pushing it. They're not pushing the boundaries.
Well, no, I think
are they copying a lot of DJs?
That's the one.
I've been there.
That's the one. They've got no identity of themselves. So the hit DJs, the 2 or 3 that there is, or maybe 4. They're like, they do their set, and you stand up at the back, and you're like, right, he just bust up the dance, And then the week after, the records that you play, or not you, because I wasn't including you, but the records that the DJs play, they go to the dance the following week and play the same records. So if that lady
if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? Type thing.
Well, it's not your set, is it? It's somebody else's set.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about another DJ? Copy that. Oh, yeah.
And then you go to another dance and
happens all the time.
For example, Fifth Avenue's not on it, so we can play what he played last week because everybody was singing and shouting. And then what's happened is that it just continues and continues, and then before you know it, you're in that same dance with that same DJ, and you do your set, and then he comes and plays the set that you played 3 weeks ago. So it still sounds like it's you.
I get what you're saying from that perspective.
Isn't that just something
music?
Okay, so how do we get past that? Are we saying then that promoters are supposed to more carefully pick their lineups?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
And believe it or not,
But promoters need to set the pace in regards to their format for their dances.
Well, they're picking.
Now
that is the thing.
Is so important, and I'm
it's
tell
the
you
formatting.
This, I never learned that until I'm gonna go right back and go right back to a mature moment. Night Moves. It was one of our churches that we had every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down in Shoreditch. Night Moves running.
Night Moves, the right
Trevor, the owner, he was one of the owners. He used to be like the manager on the night. And Trevor
I know what you're going to say.
Trevor used to tell, I remember when I used to do Sunday nights, me, Mystery, Fifth Avenue Mystery, Commander B and Daddy Ernie.
Yeah.
He used to tell the DJs what genre of music to play. And we used to have to stick to that genre of music. If you stepped outside of that, he would tell you, it's not your club. It's my club. I tell you.
Is that why I replaced you as the DJ in Night Moves?
You never replaced me in Night Moves, son. I stayed there until they kicked us out of Night Moves,
How
mate.
long was you at Night Moves for?
Quite a long while.
8 or 9 years.
Yeah. I was there for 7.
That was my, and I never kind of understood Trevor in the beginning. But as I go on, I mean, even when my all white Cocos and my birthdays, I tend to tell the DJs, I want you playing this type of genre of music. I don't tell them what specific music to play.
No. But
I just say, this genre of
yeah.
music is what you play. I want you to do this. DJ 3, I want you to do this. Therefore, you should be given a wide berth of our selection of music, and that should be saying to the people then, well, because the street sounds is an amalgamation of a whole load of music over the years. We play everything. We've got one of the hardest jobs to do anyway. Exactly. We play every genre of music, and maybe the crowd do not appreciate that as much, because when you go house, they play more or less house. Afro beats, maybe they beats play, but more or less it's just one genre of music. Jungle is just one genre of music. Dancehall, usually one genre of music. We play everything. We want to fit in soca, we want to fit in bashment, we want to fit in rare groove, we want to fit in lovers rock, we want to fit in R&B, we want to fit in trap music, we want to fit in funky house.
But is that for can every DJ on that dance, are they all qualified?
They can't all deliver that.
Not everybody can deliver it. Of course not.
But
not everybody's an open format DJ.
But some of them try to.
But they try. Yeah, but they haven't. It's called keeping up with the Joneses.
And that's where the problem is.
You know, some people are trying to keep up with the Joneses.
But that's where we go back to the fact that we're saying that that maybe the promoters need to take more handle on it and say to their DJs, this is the type of genre of music that I want you to play. Bearing in mind they know who's coming on next. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's the key. Is formatting.
Yeah.
I think with the street sound dances, because you got people that turn up. Okay, I'm not saying every street sound has to be there at 10 o'clock to hear what everybody else has played, but I find a lot of times as a raver, I'll go to some of these gigs and a DJ will come on. I mean, we've had conversations over the years where DJ's playing and he'll play 3 or 4 of the same records that the DJ played literally 20 minutes before.
That's so annoying. Our timing is bad.
That's so annoying.
You know, so the formatting thing is great, because
not to mention no DJs' names. Like Hollywood.
No, of course not. But the formatting of the DJ, but I think formatting is great.
And we'll go into Hollywood, because you've got a tune coming out with some of our street DJs. So we want to talk about that. But not to cut you, what I also wanted to say about the young lady is that the other thing that I had a problem with her in was the fact that she mentioned some of the new artists in it. So you're talking about Myra May, you're talking about LMA. They mentioned 2 of those. Those are British, young British singers that have found it hard to make their way in the industry, and they've had to go another route to maybe the traditional route. And I'm going back to the soul to soul roots, maybe, and the Rick Clark roots, and the all our good British singers, Omar, Sinclair, those that made it that way. They are going that traditional hard route. LMA was on X Factor. She didn't make it. She had to come off of that. She had to come and find another way. Mira May, her track has May. There's a lot of Mays here. LMA, Mira May. I just saw that.
You said Theresa May?
Theresa May. Biggest bitch of them all. Anyway, so what I'm saying, but we're allowed to say that. But what I'm saying though is that if we cut those music out, the street has been. I mean, I don't.
But LMA is ridiculous though.
I wouldn't say so much about Booed Up, but definitely would Commit. That is that track. The street is killed to death. Is there any reason why we shouldn't keep on kicking?
We're trying
to keep playing them.
Because we haven't really pushed the boundary with the record. Like it's being played, and we all like it and we're singing it, but there's other levels for that record to go.
Look at LMA, for example. How long and how old was that Booed Up record? What, a year and a half? I was playing that probably last year, God knows when I first started playing it. Maybe what the case is that, like you said, it's a new age. So this particular lady might have the ability to be able to play her music constantly, because I don't know, over the years I've been in a few ladies' houses and presents. Right, okay, for a bit of dinner.
You're quite a brave young man.
Okay, so I've got to see a cat about a mat. I've got to see a few.
You stay right over there, my son.
I've got to see a few cats about a mat.
I don't want to be associated.
All right, but when you're in their environment, they play records constantly, and the fact that you can play records constantly, wheel up. You don't have to do back in the day where you wheel up the tape and you have to, They play their music on a constant basis, so they probably get fed up within themselves. So when they come to the gigs,
they want to hear what they're playing in their houses.
Not even necessarily. that they've played that record to death and they don't want to hear it.
What I liked about what I did like about the lady is that she had 2 records in the background that she was saying, she was trying to get the message out.
Yeah, but I didn't like that because I tell you why I didn't like that.
You didn't like the song, or you didn't like the fact that she was
because
playing
anybody can put in 2 records in the background that are obscure on a track. Listen, I get her point, but I think there's a way you need to put it over because you then come across as your criticism doesn't come across as being in the best spirit. You know what I mean? Because it then comes across as you're being quite hurtful and quite.
But that's been going for years, Ray.
Yeah, no, but
the amount of times I
I
hear
think
women.
there's a responsibility.
Let's play the same tune.
We are
playing them different all the time. But
they're still saying that when you
but
play.
If you want your point to be taken seriously, you have to consider people's egos in it. You have to do that. I can make.
She don't care. She's not interested in anyone's ego.
Then how does her point get over? Because if you've got to fight egos in order to get your point over,
as far as she's concerned, if the cap fits, who wears it? That's as far as she's concerned.
To the blogger, I don't want to mention her name. My thing is this.
Yeah, but
this is
her
name is Miss Passionate.
Exactly.
Her name is Miss Passionate. What are we hiding
What I would say
from her
to you
for?
is what I was going to say.
What are we hiding from her?
No. What I was going to say is that it's great to have niche. Gigs where you got DJs who will play connoisseur selections and all the rest of it, but it's niche. It's only a small number of people who are into that. But the masses. Okay, yeah. I always use the McDonald's theory, right? Where McDonald's is cheap, it's easy to produce, so the masses
it's
like
junk
it.
food.
Yeah. How many people
so you're saying
are able
some DJs
to?
Are
Everybody can
people?
get into McDonald's.
Is that what you said?
Can go to McDonald's.
Did you know? That's just what you just said.
And some people, not everybody, can get into Hakkasan to eat, or can eat in Hakkasan all the time. You see what I'm saying? And that's the way I look at it. Because
do you rate me as a Hakkasan DJ?
More than that.
I'm just asking. I don't want to be called a KFC DJ.
You're Park Shin-won, man. You're two Michelin star, man. Don't worry about that. You're nice. Hakkasan only got 1 Michelin star.
So yeah, records like Commit must still be played. It's only what? How long we been playing it for? About a year?
3-4 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Like Hill Street Soul was another one. Pieces and Smile. Those records came out in 2002. Didn't get played.
But here's my issue with that again. These are English singers, and it's like you want to cut off their food, their lifeline.
Yeah.
This is why I'm saying that you need to be careful about what you say because you need to consider what's going on down the road. The struggle that Hill Street Soul has had to be recognised. You talk about she had a major deal. You know what I mean? This sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
The major deal fell through. The labels probably didn't know what to do with her, how to market her, because there's people probably singing like Hill Street Soul of a different complexion that are out there killing it and get promoted and get the backing and get everything they need from majors to be a success. You've got people like Hill Street Soul who's got natural raw talent and they haven't found love over there. They're doing a lot of music that we've loved and that we've taken forward and that we've pushed to arm people and that have been loved and they've spent money downloading her tunes, and all of a sudden you're saying forget her music.
It's ridiculous.
Don't do that because the younger generation, they ain't gonna spend a 79 pence or whatever else and how they ain't gonna book her. I think that's so unfair, and that's what I think when you're saying stuff you need to consider that within how you're putting forward your criticism.
And similarly with LMA. Check out the LMA story. She broke in America before she broke here. They only just started recently playing LMA's record on mainstream radio. Until she broke.
And we're gonna have to close soon because
I'm
not gonna tell you why, but we're gonna have to close soon. So this is the first episode. But just to finish off, you, Reggie Styles, have done what only I think 2 other people have done in our scene. Maybe 1, because I only know Mystery to have produced a record within our scene. I think he was the only DJ. I think Mystery was the only DJ. You have now gone and done that with Dodd, MA, Hollywood, and Dixie. You've produced the second street sound DJ record, which is coming out very soon. We're shooting the video this afternoon. Thank you.
No problem, man. You know what it is? You know me, I'm passionate. I've been passionate about the scene. Funny enough, I just found a picture of me raving with 2 of my female friends back in the day.
This guy.
With
single, right?
You know, it's all
remember Lacey's in Yeah, we're Stringfellows, Windmill Street.
Stringfellows.
Remember?
I do remember Stringfellows.
You remember the club that was in Windmill Street? I actually remember that picture. But anyway, I digress. So you know what happened? You know, rest in peace, Dr. Psycho. He passed away, obviously,
Psycho,
last year. And
big
we kept talking on the road. We were at gigs. Yeah, we should do a tune. Reggie, you should do it. So I just thought, you know what? Let's just get this done. It was a bit of a struggle.
Psycho did a tune, though, did he?
More weed, more ganja.
Yeah. Big up Sticky on that one.
You know, the idea of people coming together, and I think the whole idea of it is just to basically salute the scene, and also the idea of it is to put across what the street sound MCs and what they do in the gigs. You know, with the chanting and everything. I know you lot got your ratings and who's top MC. And
Hollywood.
Can I just say there are a few MCs missing, not because of me, but because I did contact them, and they
didn't want to be part of the project.
Not that they didn't want to be part of it. I think what it is that they didn't show enough interest and didn't take it seriously enough.
Okay.
And didn't turn up at the studio.
Didn't grab the opportunity.
Yeah.
So the track is, we're going to talk more about it on our next podcast, episode 2, so make sure that you're watching it. The track is called
Can't Get Enough, featuring Christina Ivy on the vocals, who sounds amazing. Girl from Croatia, she just sounds wicked. Like, she's got that Barbara Lynn.
Can I get a dub plate?
Yeah, of course. She's here.
Alright, cool.
Okay, we can discuss that.
You're getting a dub plate of the MC?
No. I've got a dub plate of him every Saturday.
You can only get the Hollywood part.
When he turns up on time.
Get the Hollywood part.
When he turns up on time. No, I can get all of them. I can get MA to do it. Dodd isn't the problem. Dixie's the problem. Because you know Dixie and Money. Dixie and Money don't play.
What, Dixie would do it for free?
He'll be looking some bounty killer dub plate money. You know Dixie. You know what Dixie's like. So it's coming out when? When's the record coming out?
It's going to be available in the next kind of 3 weeks or so via Spotify and all the DSPs.
On all formats.
Yeah.
And there was
there's remixes and everything.
And there was a tune going around, which was a raw edit of it.
Yeah. Please delete that, because that's not even the final edit. I didn't even want to send it out, but for some reason, as per usual,
somebody leaked
leaks.
Someone got leaked.
The leaks.
Get the strap.
Ever guess who leaked it?
So guys, I just had a
sweet vibes.
I had a Henri moment there. You get me? I had a Henri moment there.
Oh my God!
Get the strap again. Thank you for listening. This is just episode 1. You can see what we're trying to do here. You can see that we're talking about the culture. We've got more to talk about, and we'll be back with guests. So there'll be other people that we'll be introducing into our culture that will have a different take and angle on how the scene is and what they've brought or what we've brought to the scene in general. So stick with us. The podcast is called
Set the Trend.
Set the Trend.
Yes, man.
Episode
share,
1.
Like, tell your friends, forward on, share the love. EastEnder.
Sweet vibes.
At Reggie Heavy, Reggie Styles.
And it's goodbye from him and me. And big respect to the backroom team as well, that you're not going to see behind it, but they're behind it. And we've managed to get one of them at least out of his bed to be part of this. Won't mention no name, but it isn't the cameraman. It's the producer.
Just so you know, it's very early in the morning
now. So thanks to him as well. Spread the love, set the trend. Thanks a lot.